Today, the internet is everywhere. It's in our phones, our homes, our schools, and our workplaces. Most of us couldn't imagine going a day without it. But there was a time when getting online wasn't simple. In fact, for millions of people, owning a computer was a luxury, and having internet access at home was even rarer. So what did people do when they wanted to go online? They went somewhere. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, a new type of business began appearing around the world. People would walk in, pay for an hour, sit in front of a computer, and connect to the internet. These places became known as internet cafes. For an entire generation, this wasn't just a place to check email or browse websites. It was their first introduction to the online world. And for a brief moment in history, internet cafes became one of the most important gateways to the internet. The internet existed long before most people ever used it. During the 1970s and 1980s, it was mainly a tool for governments, universities, researchers, and large organizations. Most households had never seen it. Then the 1990s arrived. The World Wide Web made the internet easier to use. More websites appeared. More information became available. And for the first time, ordinary people became interested. There was only one problem: access. Computers were expensive. Internet subscriptions were expensive. In many parts of the world, owning both was unrealistic. People wanted to see what the internet was all about. But millions had no practical way to connect. A gap existed between public curiosity and public access. Someone eventually realized there was a business hiding in that gap. In 1994, one of the world's earliest internet cafes opened in London. It was called Cyberaya. The concept was simple. Customers paid for time instead of equipment. No computer purchase. No internet subscription. No complicated setup. Just walk in, sit down, and connect. At exactly the right moment, it was the perfect idea. The internet was becoming famous, but it was still difficult to reach. Internet cafes solved that problem. The idea spread rapidly. Within a few years, internet cafes appeared across Europe, then North America, then Asia, then Latin America, then almost everywhere internet access was growing. For many communities, internet cafes became the front door to the digital world. Today, imagine hearing about the internet for months without ever seeing it yourself. Friends talked about websites. Magazines wrote articles about it. Television mentioned it. Everyone seemed curious. Then one day, you finally sat in front of a connected computer. The experience was difficult to describe. Today, people open dozens of websites every day without thinking about it. Back then, each website felt like a discovery. Every search felt important. The internet felt enormous. Nobody knew where it would lead. There were no influencers telling people what to watch. No algorithms deciding what should appear next. Exploration was the attraction. People clicked simply because they were curious. For many visitors, internet cafes became the place where the internet stopped being an idea and became something real. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, internet cafes were everywhere. Some were small. Some were enormous. Some operated 24 hours a day. In many cities, new cafes opened almost every month. Demand was growing that quickly. Students visited after school. Travelers checked messages from home. Job seekers searched for opportunities. Business owners used them to communicate with customers.
Hackers were there, a lot of artists, a lot of students. It was an amazing mix of people. The media was all over it, and so people...
For many families, internet cafes were still far cheaper than owning a computer and maintaining an internet connection. Entire communities depended on them. In some countries, internet cafes became so common that they felt as normal as restaurants or convenience stores. For a brief period, they were one of the fastest-growing businesses in the world. Something interesting happened as internet cafes became more popular. They stopped being just places to access the internet. They became social spaces. Teenagers arranged meetings there. Friends spent entire afternoons there. Students completed projects there. For many young people, internet cafes became part of daily life. This was where first email accounts were created, where online friendships began, where people learned how to use computers, where countless hours disappeared after school. In many ways, internet cafes became digital playgrounds. A generation didn't just use the internet there. They grew up there. Then another trend transformed everything. Gaming. As multiplayer games became more popular, internet cafes discovered a new audience. Gamers. Rows of computers became competitive arenas. Entire groups of friends arrived together. Weekends became crowded. Tournaments appeared. Rivalries developed. The atmosphere changed. Internet cafes were no longer simply connecting people to information. They were connecting people to each other. Many customers visited less for the internet itself and more for the experience of playing together. For countless players around the world, some of their most memorable gaming moments happened inside internet cafes. Years later, what people remember most are often the smallest details. Paying by the hour, watching the remaining time count down, waiting for an available computer, hearing printers running somewhere in the room, writing passwords on pieces of paper, saving files onto floppy disks, CDs, or USB drives, the sound of keyboards, the glow of CRT monitors, the feeling of trying to finish something before your session expired. At the time, these things felt ordinary. Today, they feel like memories from another era. The same technology that made internet cafes successful eventually made them unnecessary. Computers became cheaper. Internet connections became faster. More homes gained access. Then smartphones arrived. Suddenly, the internet was no longer a destination. It became something people carried everywhere. The reason most customers visited internet cafes simply disappeared. Many cafes closed. Others transformed into gaming centers. Some survived, but the era that created them was ending. Internet cafes existed during a very specific moment in history. A moment when the internet was becoming important, but had not yet become ordinary. They introduced millions of people to a technology that would eventually change everyday life. And perhaps that's why so many people still remember them. Not because of the buildings, not because of the computers, but because they were there at the exact moment when an entire generation discovered the online world for the first time. The internet eventually came home. But before that happened, people went out looking for it. And very often, they found it inside an internet cafe.